I have the Bills, the Ravens, and the Dolphins, which means that I have the Chiefs not making the playoffs this year.
Ugh.
Oh,
hey, bro, just stop talking for the rest of the segment.
That's
like,
so
don't, because that was you got 2 hot takes already, bro. I've literally heard enough.
Hey, all I'm saying is,
no. I think you misread me. I said like I don't want to hear.
Hey, look, when they only win 10 games and don't make the playoffs this year,
I want this record to be
Coach
known that Coach has the Chiefs missing the playoffs, and he also has Travis Kelce.
Baby.
Yeah.
And I know this is gonna piss Sean Hart off and many of his kin, and people who think through along his same vein. I did say last week I was not going to be combative, but this week I'm coming with the punches. So there is something that I saw in the Chiefs, a flaw in the Chiefs, that did show itself to be true this year. As I said last week, something that I missed was that I thought that since the Chiefs were going to be flawed, that the rest of the AFC would be able to take advantage of it, the rest of the NFL altogether be able to take advantage of it, and that will cause the Chiefs to barely win 10 games and cause them to miss the playoffs. I think that I was right on the Chiefs. I was not right on the results of what would happen as far as them missing the playoffs and only getting 10 wins or struggling their way to 10 wins. I was wrong on the rest of the league. Now, that bears out by a couple of facts, okay? If you look at ESPN's QBR rating, this year, Patrick Mahomes was number 5 in the QBR rating, right? And I would say that, hey, Christian said that Patrick Mahomes looked like a human. He's number 5 QB as far as QBR. Why is he bringing this up? Well, I'm bringing it up because Patrick Mahomes' QBR this year was 62.6. In 2020, that would have ranked him as the number 14th, the number 12 person in 2020. In 2019, it would have ranked him the number 12 person there. In 2018, it would have ranked him the number 12. Sorry, in 2020, it would have ranked him the number 13th quarterback. Why am I saying this? Well, we wouldn't say that the 13th quarterback in the NFL or the 12th quarterback in the NFL is superhuman. We'd say, oh, this is an average guy, right? And those teams, for the most part, either didn't get to 10 wins, at least 25% of the time. Teams that graded like Patrick Mahomes graded this year, didn't get to the playoffs, or got to the playoffs about 58% of the time, didn't have 10 wins or more, 75% of the time. And so because of how Mahomes looked like he was a human this year and the Chiefs did not look that great, I figured that the rest of the league would be able to catch up and take advantage. But guess what? The rest of the league looked average. So because of that, the Chiefs were able to take advantage of that and be able to get into the playoffs. But I am not the only one who's noticing the flawedness of the Chiefs. Ryan Clark today on ESPN said they are not that good. No one should be scared of them. Rex Ryan said on national TV last week, while at halftime for the Broncos game, that no one is scared of the Chiefs. Why? Because they see what I saw at the beginning of the year. So now, because they're in the playoffs, it's because the rest of the league sucks too. But I saw a flaw in the Chiefs, and I called it out before everybody else. There we go.
Are you done, Christian?
I'm done. Go ahead.
Don't interrupt anybody who rebuttals you.
Go ahead.
So you bored us and took 10 minutes from our lives just to tell us that even though you were wrong, the way you described it and how you claimed that they would fall off was more so right, and you kind of refuted back to other years that your numbers would have supported that you would have been right. But we're not talking about other years. We're not talking about 2019. We're not talking about 2020. Granted, yes, QBR was 62.6, but where did you say that would rank him today? He top 5 quarterback. And would you say he was a top 5 quarterback in all the rest of those years? I would say so. The numbers would support that. Yes. So you bringing up those miscellaneous numbers, again, you sound smart to somebody that's stupid because, again, we're talking about this year. We're talking about this bet. We're talking about the premise behind your predictions and how blatantly wrong you were. I don't give a that the rest of the league was average. I care about, hey, was your pick right or was it wrong? Patrick Mahomes seemed to be flourishing when, people started to write him off after the first 5 to 6 games. Oh, the Chiefs aren't the Chiefs. Well, they don't have XYZ. They don't have this. And, they get Melvin Ingram, mid-season and, things start to turn around. They get, certain pieces back from injury, COVID list, whatever the case may be. And, bottom line is I'm not going to bore anybody with any numbers. The Chiefs are in the playoffs and they are primed to make another run to the Super Bowl. And we are, or they are, excuse me, who we thought they were. Or at least I was probably maybe one of the few people who still hold true to those beliefs. But, I mean, are we surprised that Coach Johnson was wrong about this? I mean, I'm not. But what I am more surprised about is that you're gung-ho and you will still find a way to say, even though you were wrong, you were right, which is the most oxymoronical thing you could possibly say in a black and white is or ain't type of situation. But hey, Coach, again, you never cease to amaze me. So congrats on that. But Chiefs Kingdom and all that other good shit.
I personally think that Coach Johnson is mistaking the target on the back. Excuse me. He's mistaking the target on the back for weakness. He's taking it as okay. They're losing because they're not so good. It's like no, it's because they've been to the Super Bowl twice and won once, and the only time they lost was to the greatest player to breathe football air. So, I mean, at the end of the day, man, it's one of those things where it's that target, and plus they got exposed in the Super Bowl to where they show vulnerability to where teams feel like, oh, we can beat them, and it doesn't make them a weaker team. It just puts that more of a target. So, I mean, it's not that they're weaker, Coach Johnson. It's just when you that good, everybody's gonna want to come at your neck, and they're gonna feel like they can beat you. And it don't always work to where it's intimidation. Sometimes it works where we seen that one little thing that makes you weak. We're gonna try to expose it, which every team tried to, and they got enough wins to get in the playoffs and be what the number 3 seed or 2.
Number 2 seed.
2 seed. 2 seed.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a target on the back, man. They don't suck. They ain't as bad as you think they are.
You in or out, Dacius?
I was gonna say, I do think that they're as bad as we think that they are. I don't think that they're as bad to miss the playoffs. I feel like you put your balls all the way on the plank with that one. But
I did.
I mean, it is what it is. That's why I couldn't jump in that boat with you, because I'm like, miss the playoffs. That's tough. I do feel like, Darnell, I feel like you're partially right as far as they are good enough to still make it to the playoffs. I do not feel like they're good enough still to make that deep run that they would typically make, especially with them not having that bye. I feel like with Tennessee controlling everything, now you got to battle either Tennessee or Buffalo to come out of there. So it's just, I don't. And then the Bengals scare you, but the Bengals really ain't gonna. They're not gonna do shit as opposed to Buffalo and Tennessee. Nah, the Bengals ain't ready for that type of time because Derrick Henry's back and Ryan Tannehill's been playing good all year. So I'm sorry, but hey, we never know. You never know. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth again like I did last year, but I still don't got Kansas City going to the Super Bowl. I'm sorry. Missing the playoffs, that shit was crazy. But not getting back, I can see you on that. That's all I got.
So, if the only reason I think I would consider you just like out the gate, like you just wrong across. I don't know if I want to say across the board, but I feel like you're indefinitely wrong about the Chiefs, solely talking about why you believed they would barely get to 10 and not make the playoffs. Right. So it started with, you saw those holes in the playoffs and you harped on profusely, just to start off, these offensive linemen, y'all not looking at what I'm looking at with these guys. And so we went back and forth with that. Rookie, Creed Humphrey, center, 91 overall by PFF.
Bald.
The
offensive line was
and
way better.
No. You talked down on him this season, and you talked down on the O-line.
I did at the beginning of the year. Yes, I did. Yes, I did at the beginning of the year. I'm just agreeing. Hey, Edward, I'm just agreeing with you. That's all I'm doing. I'm just agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying, yeah. I'm just agreeing with you. Go ahead, though. I'm amening your stuff right now.
Thank you. So yeah, right. So Creed Humphrey, ball. Trey Smith, gave up 4. I give you the guys who got over 1,000 snaps on the offensive line: Orlando Brown, Creed Humphrey, Joe Thuney, Trey Smith. Trey Smith gave up 4 sacks, 8 hits, 47 pressures, 72 overall by PFF. Joe Thuney, 80.6 overall by PFF. Orlando Brown, I know you was kind of iffy on him. 75.1 overall, gave up 4 sacks, 12 hits, 37 pressures, over 1,000 snaps on the offensive line. Right, that's pretty good. Lucas Nguyen, he got hurt, only played 12 games this season, so he was in and out. He only had over 500 snaps. Then I'm assuming because of that made Andrew Wiley come in and he got 500 snaps. So starting off at that base last year, offensive line, because of that, in addition to other things, that wasn't the only reason you were saying that they were going to fall they wasn't going to make the playoffs. They beat you in that regard. They did what they needed to do to give Patrick Mahomes enough time for him to be Houdini at times, right? So then we progress. Hey, outside of Tyrann Mathieu and maybe somebody else you said, I don't really know these dudes on the defense. Like, they ain't really that tough. Brett Van Veach, he created this pipe is about to burst. Shahar Izzo, Melvin Ingram, they start to shake some things up. So considering how average or below average the NFL was, their defense played well enough to be able to get them along the way or stop certain teams. So they pushed you aside in that regard. Then, hey, y'all.
Well, I would say that the additions that they made would make me correct from what I said before. Before the additions, they were the worst defense in the league. After the additions, they became one of the best defenses in the league. So,
okay, so then we move forward. Hey, it's not just the offensive line. It's not just the defense. You went on your Tom Brady conspiracy of Travis Kelce falling off an enormous cliff. 2021. Well, we'll go 2021. 1,400 yards, 11 touchdowns, 105 catches. If you call this a cliff, so be it. I won't argue it. I won't argue you on it. Again, this last year, 1,400 receiving yards, 11 touchdowns, 105 catches. This year, 1,100 receiving yards, 90 plus catches, and 9 touchdowns. So maybe that's a sleep. Maybe you was early. I would still say that's fairly still within the range of him performing where he was last year, and you still have the playoffs to go forward. So Travis Kelce didn't fall off the cliff. he, as the season progressed, the offensive line playing how they played, you didn't necessarily need. I know what you say about hey, trying to force that third receiver. Where's that third or fourth or second or third receiver going to come from if their offensive line is depleted and you don't have time to try to find Kelsey or you don't have time to find Hill? Like, is it going to be Miko Hardman? Who's it going to be for those guys? They was judging by this last year with the 1,400 receiving yards. Travis Kelsey was the leading receiver for them. And this year, Tyreek Hill took it by 1,200 yards. So Tyreek Hill, 1,200 yards. Travis Kelsey, 1,100. And the next one behind them was Miko Hardman, 693 receiving yards. So, like, nothing stopped in terms of them being able to get the ball to Travis Kelsey or Tyreek Hill when they wanted to. In terms of talking about the receiver core, may come back. I know if it does, you're going to be the first one in the group chat if they plummet in the playoffs and somebody puts a scheme together that takes Tyreek or Travis Kelsey out the game. You're going to be like, I told you, niggas, I told y'all. But
there's only one team. There's only one team in the playoffs that can do that. So,
but they beat. I feel like they shunned you in that regard, and so an accumulation of all of those things that you said were going to happen and the asterisks of if they don't do nothing with their defense, they're going to suffer is why you felt like they were going to struggle, will only get 10 wins, struggle to get the 10 wins, and everybody else was going to be great because of you stirring it all in a pot and coming out with your thesis or your hypothesis on why they weren't going to make the playoffs. They proved you emphatically wrong this season as it relates to this regular season and them not only getting 10 wins but also getting 12. So yeah.
Emphatically wrong. I wouldn't accept that. I was wrong about the offensive line. I was wrong about my Travis Kelsey take. As far as Travis Kelsey and Tyreek Hill getting 1,100 and 1,200 yards respectively, that still does not make me wrong there. Where I would be wrong at, right? Because I mean, still, if they're the top two guys, we would expect them to get those yards. Where I'll be wrong at is that it would cost them.
That's not what you said.
Thank you, Isaac.
That's not what you said, bro.
What did I say? What did I say?
He just repeated back to you what you stated about Travis Kelsey. You said, and I
gave him that. I gave him that.
So why is it that you weren't dramatically or drastically, whatever adjective?
I was wrong. I was wrong on two things that he stated. I was wrong on the Travis Kelsey cliff, and I was wrong on the offensive line.
And the Chiefs not getting 10 wins. You was wrong on that.
Yeah, but he went off of my reasoning. He was talking about my reasoning, right?
Yeah, but I'm just talking about just things you're
talking about something else. I'm going off of what he.
No, I'm talking about the stuff that you were wrong about the Chiefs, and he was just going down.
I'm responding to Edward off of what Edward just said. Edward was going because he knows me. He knows that at the end of the day, I'm not as concerned about the outcome. I'm concerned about the process. And he was saying that, hey, Christian, you effed up your process. That's what he was just doing.
We shouldn't even make
that's what he was just doing. So I'm trying to let him know. I'm trying to let him, when he goes, hey, your process was emphatically effed up. Okay. I'm trying to let him know, well, I was wrong on two things that you just said. Not all four.
Hold on. Give me the four.
The four.
Offensive line, Travis Kelsey, defense.
The defense I was not wrong about. They were the worst defense in the league until they started adding people. As far as them not having a third guy to step up, if we're talking about 600 yards from Miko Hardman that's stepping up, I mean, I don't know.
But this okay. I'm hearing what you're saying. Going off the conversation of the beginning of the year,
yes,
you were saying if those guys don't step up, that would contribute to them not being able to reach 10 wins. Whether or not they stepped up, they didn't need them to step up to get 10 plus wins.
Yes, and I also said that would contribute to Patrick Mahomes looking human this year. Did he not look human this year?
I mean, if number 2 in the AFC is human, I go figure.
Okay. Where does Patrick Mahomes rank on PFF? Since you're using PFF grades, where does he rank on PFF this year?
Can you just read them out?
No, I only read out QBR. His PFF rank is 14.
Yeah, he's 14 and 15, 14.
He's 14 overall. As far as his passing, their passing deal, he's 13th.
Let me ask you this, Coach.
And so that will be him looking like he's a human.
How many quarterbacks above him that are ranked higher than him on Pro Football Focus? How many of their teams are in a better position than his team and have a better record than his team? Being that his defense
would you take Kirk
Cousins
over Patrick Mahomes?
Kirk Cousins had a better year than Patrick Mahomes.
Would you take him over Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, listen.
Yes, it's a simple yes or no. Would you take Kirk Cousins over Patrick Mahomes?
No, we're not take Kirk Cousins over Patrick Mahomes. But I'm not talking about Kirk Cousins. I said that Patrick Mahomes will look human.
Would you
Patrick
take
Patrick Mahomes was superhuman every year before this year? Was he not?
Hey,
yes.
You know
was he superhuman this year?
This year with his numbers?
No.
Kirk Cousins, a good year from Kirk Cousins. Go put up a good year from Kirk Cousins, and then go look at Patrick Mahomes. One of Kirk Cousins' greatest years. Go look at one of those.
No,
his greatest years.
Y'all are moving the goalposts. Y'all are moving the goalposts
this year.
Y'all are moving the goalposts. I said that Patrick Mahomes will look human this year. Has he not? Yes. Per PFF data, he has. Per QBR, he has. For everything that we saw this year, he has.
Human. I don't call number 2 in the AFC human.
His team is number 2 in the AFC. He ranked number 14 according to PFF.
I mean, he definitely has a strong post on him being number 2 at the quarterback position, eh?
Okay. Jimmy, also too. Hey, okay. Hey, in 2019, Jimmy Garoppolo had the number 1 team in the NFC. We call him Jimmy Garoppolo superhuman? No, he ranked 15th that year, according to PFF, something like that.
So based off your process and your logic, because PFF has Patrick Mahomes rating lower this year than it did to last year, that says and speaks to Christian that Patrick Mahomes was human this season.
Yes, Patrick Mahomes was human this season. He was an average NFL quarterback.
Okay, the audience and the listeners, they get that point and they heard you, and I've heard you. I understand where you're coming from. And if there's nothing else, guys, we can move on to
the next one.